Dr. Will?
There was a comment you made about the fact that this is not required as a part of the state standards. This section is not. Is that?
Animal dissection is not specifically required. That is correct.
Okay, and so the opposition is alleging that it is. Is that correct? No.
I don't believe that anyone said that.
It's not that it is required, but by the nature of the shifts demanded with the California Next Generation Sciences, it lends itself to that type of activity. If I may give an example, in my 4th grade classroom, we study structure and function of animals, and I have a dissection coming up when I go back to school next week, where we will be dissecting chicken feet and chicken wings, and my students then use what they learn about the structure and function of the tendons, of the bones, and the ligaments in the chicken feet and wings to then design a bionic hand that they use. So they're taking that knowledge that they learned through the dissection and applying it in an engineering process, and that's part of the shifts.
And this is in what grade?
4th grade.
4th grade. Okay. Is my concern, if there is a concern, I liked this section when I was in school, so maybe I'm a little gory about that, but I did like it, but that doesn't mean it has to be there today. It's a long time ago. My concern is more importantly that I don't see dissection occurring in every school. And that's my real concern. Not so much even the dissection. I don't see the technology that is hands-on, that inspires and motivates, particularly in the schools of the lower socioeconomic level. And so that, my concern is there's not enough of that. And I don't know if this would make more of it available. I'm not really sure. But I know that having worked with a whole bunch of science programs that are external to schools, whether it's at the university or whether one of our institutes in the community, that is what sparks the interest of inner city kids. The fact that this is science, it's hands-on, they can see it, whether it's in a video or whether it's, whether it's virtual. That's my main concern. Maybe virtual will make it more accessible. That's another issue I raised, I'm not sure, because maybe the instructors have some difficulties themselves dealing with it. But I do know that it is the thing that really turns kids on to science. And too often our kids are turned off by chalk and talk, which is what we do a lot of. So I'm not sure if this will help. Maybe it will. I'd like some more information, and I may give you, I'll give you my support for the day, but I'm really more concerned about the fact that I want hands-on science in all classrooms, because without it, I think our students do not get the benefit of being inspired and able to ask those critical questions that you say your students are able to ask in the classroom. And we don't have enough of those hands-on experiences that really turn kids on to science. They're very turned off, unfortunately, and science is a very exciting field.
I agree with you, Dr. Weber, and I think the
Thank you. Let me make a few comments on this. I'm an animal lover. I have 2 rescue dogs at home. I've worked with social compassion and legislation. We had a significant bill just a couple of years ago that we got through that we didn't think we were going to get through. We did. Now I think it's a national model. But where I fall on this is this absolutely removes local control. This absolutely will cost more money. These classrooms do not have the technology today. And in fact, if you buy software, you can't download it to your Chromebook, right? It's got to be online. So again, this is coming from a teacher, someone who's been in a classroom for many years. We shouldn't be designing lesson plans from Sacramento. We should allow teachers to have the autonomy so they can best meet the needs of their students. So let me go through a couple other things. Again, increased costs, you heard me say it, definitely will cost more money. And we even did some research on how much a frog costs. So, this was an interesting topic. This was one I struggled with, but where I fall again is the local control issue and teacher autonomy. And also, we shouldn't be telling teachers exactly how they can or can't teach within reason from Sacramento. There's another, it's been broached upon, but we should unlock a child's interest in science. And that's what I think dissection may do sometimes, and that's a good thing. You might be facilitating a child's interest in science. The child may ultimately find the cure for cancer. And again, we should support that. And dissection, I think, may do that. And again, it may not, but again, a student can decide now. There are opt-out provisions now, and a local district can decide as well now. So I think that's a good thing. What else do I have here? I also have some, where I think we should go is, again, strengthening the opt-out provision. And also maybe requiring that the animal parts come from animals that weren't sourced specifically for dissection. And I'm quite open to that conversation because that makes sense to me. And I think that happens sometimes now, and doesn't happen sometimes now. And again, I just fall back on the local argument. And the universities, through our research, the universities, not just the medical schools, do use animals now in dissection. They also use people. I think I've said my piece, but I think really where I fall is the local control issue, the teacher autonomy issue, and for someone to come up here and say it's not going to cost money, you can do it. I think that's very irresponsible when we have schools that are already radically underfunded in California. So with that, Ms. Smith wanted to speak. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thank the author for this measure because, as we've discussed, I have, as a matter of my personal belief system and what my own children experienced in their science coursework in high school, I see the need, and I definitely see the need for strengthening the opt-out component for sure. Now, if this was just me deciding absent any other considerations, I think I'd be totally there with you. But as my colleagues have expressed, I do have other concerns about local control, about the autonomy of teacher pedagogy in their own classrooms. And so I'm going to be with you today because I like the direction that this is headed. I would like to see young students like my own who really had serious concerns about performing dissection have an option that is an educational experience that is meaningful to them, that didn't require them to stay in a classroom where they felt very uncomfortable with the activity that was going on and felt that they gained very little knowledge from that process just based on their own personal objections. So I think there are, as the chair pointed out, a lot of areas that I think can be worked on here. So I thank the author, I thank the opposition. I hope you'll continue, all of you, to work together. I do think we're going to see this dynamic continue to change. I mean, we know already kind of the materials that have come online as we've adopted new curriculum. Once in GSS really starts to unfold in classrooms, we're going to see a lot more, I think, hands-on manipulatives that speak exactly to that kind of collaborative experience that I know you want your students to have. So that said, I just encourage everyone to continue to have the conversation, and ultimately, let's do what's best for students. Let's, to Dr. Weber's concerns over equity, let's make sure that whatever these opportunities are, they're happening in all of our classrooms, not just in those in more affluent areas, and make sure that this is meaningful in a way that it acknowledges and addresses the needs of those students who are STEM motivated, but then also for kids like mine, that they have opportunities still to have a meaningful science experience without being subjected to the activity. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Collar, you may close. The motion is due pass to appropriations.
Thank you. And just on a couple of the points.
Please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to appropriations. O'Donnell?
No.
O'Donnell, no. Kylie? Kylie, no. Calra?
Aye.
Calra, aye. McCarty? McCarty, not voting. Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Weber? Weber, aye.
The bill has 3 votes. It fails.